Let's continue with solving linear equations in this next video. And if you will notice across the top, I put that acronym again, the steps for solving a linear equation. Very important that you recognize these. In prior videos, we started with combine like terms, get variables equal to numbers, and then divide. This time we're going to add the distributive property. So we're going to be doing those steps in this video. So let's talk about the distributive property for a minute. What it says is, if A, B, and C are numbers, then if you take C and you multiply it times the sum of A and B, it's the same thing as C times the A part plus C times the B part, or C times the A part minus C times the B part, if we were talking about subtraction. So let me give you two examples, one with numbers and one kind of a real world example. So let's say I had 4 times 3 plus 2. First, we would know that we would do the parentheses first, and we would say 3 plus 2 is 5, 4 times 5 is 20. But what the distributive property says, you don't have to do it that way. Sometimes it's necessary and to distribute rather than combining what's in parentheses, because maybe what's in parentheses are not like terms. So the distributive property says that's the same thing as 4 times 3 plus 4 times 2, or 12 plus 8 is 20. I still got 20, but I got 2 at a very different way. Here is a real world example. If I am a mom to all my children, then I am a mom to each one separately. So I would call this group right here the kids, my son and daughter. I'm a mom to the kids, but that means I am a mom to my son, and I am still a mom to my daughter. So I have to distribute myself to both kids, in essence, is what it's saying. However many kids were in those parentheses, I would have to distribute to. All right, let's look at one and see how it works in algebra. So if it says solve, and then I am given this equation, following these steps, the first thing I have to do is distribute. Well, what's being distributed here is this 4. So 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times negative 3, think of the sign to go with it, negative 3 is negative 12. And then I have a 7 here. Notice the 4 does not get distributed to that 7, because the 7 wasn't in the parentheses. That's like saying I'm a mom to my son and daughter, and then I have these neighborhood kids that I don't have to be mom to. I just distribute myself to the son and the daughter, but not the neighborhood kids. I know that's kind of weird, but it's a good way to think about it. On the other side, I don't have a distributive property, so I'm just going to write that. So now if I'm keeping track of my steps, which we want to do, we distributed. Now next comes combine like terms. So let's look at the left. Are there any like terms on the left? Yes, there are. So I have 8x. Negative 12 plus 7 is negative 5. Are there any like terms on the right side? Nope. So I just keep writing the right side. I write it again. Are all the variables together? Because that's the next step. Well, no, because I've got some on the left and I've got some on the right. So I'm going to subtract a 3x. That gives me 8x, take away 3x is 5x. Bring down your negative 5, bring down your equals 5. So the variables are together, but are the numbers all together on the other side? The variables are on the left, so the numbers have to go to the right. No, they're not, but I can do that by adding a 5 to both sides, and I get 5x, this makes a 0, equals 10. So I did that step. And now my last step is to divide by whatever my variable was multiplied by. So here, I'm running out of space there. I wrote so big. I'm going to divide by 5. That makes a 1. And I get x equals 10 divided by 5 is 2. Be very careful that you write your solution exactly the way I'm doing it, because I'm doing it in a way that you're not going to get lost with what's happening. All right, let's try another one. Remembering our steps, we're going to distribute first. So here the 8 is being distributed. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times negative t is negative 8t equals, the other side doesn't have a distributive property. We did that. Combine like terms. Look at the left. Are those alike? No, so don't combine them. And there's nothing to combine here, so we can't do that one. Next, are all my variables together? No, they're not. I've got some on the left and some on the right. So I see that my numbers are together. My numbers are together on the left. So I want to get my variables over here on the right. So I'm going to do that by adding an 8t, the opposite of subtracting an 8t. And I have 16 equals negative 5 and positive 8 is positive 3t. Notice we're not adding 8, we're adding 8t. They have to match. So the variables are now equal to the numbers. The variables are on the right, the numbers are on the left. And so we did that. My last step is to divide by whatever the variable was multiplied by. So I divide by 3. 3 over 3 makes 1t. Now before anyone has a meltdown, I know that 3 doesn't go into 16 evenly. It's okay to leave it as an improper fraction. It didn't divide evenly. Let's look at example 3. Again, writing our steps, distribute first. Well, on the left, there's nothing to distribute. On the right, I'm going to distribute that 3. So 3y, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So I did that. Are there like terms to combine? No. The terms on the right are not alike, and this guy doesn't have anything to combine with, so we don't have to do that. Are the variables all together? Yeah, there they are. They're on the right. There aren't any on the left, so that part is done. But are the numbers together? No, so I'm going to get the numbers on the left because the variables are already taking up the right. So I add a 6 to both sides. I get 3y, bring down your equals 0. So now my variables are on the right, my numbers are on the left. Remember, 0 is a number. That's done. And now the last step is to divide by the coefficient, the number that the variable has been multiplied by. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 0 divided by 3 is 0. So 0 equals 1y, or y equals 0. 0 is a legitimate answer. Same thing here, but you've got to be very, very careful here. What is being distributed? It's the 3. And we have to do that first. You can't say negative 2 and positive 3 makes 1. You have to do the distributing first. So we just keep that negative 2. It's like a neighborhood kid in the front yard. So positive 3 times 2x, positive 6x, positive 3 times positive 7, positive 21, equals 7 plus 3x. There's nothing to distribute over there. So that's done. Let's see if there's like terms to combine. On the left, I have a negative 2 and a positive 21. That makes a 19 plus 6x. I combined those two like terms. These are not alike, so I can't combine them, so I'm finished with that. Are my variables all together? No, because here's some and here's some, left and right. So I'm going to undo that, add 3x by minus 3x. That gives me 19. 6x minus 3x is plus 3x equals 7. Those make a 0. So the variables are together on the left, so the numbers have to get over on the right. And I do that by subtracting a 19. That makes a 0. 3x equals 7. Take away 19 is negative 12. That is now done. Last step always is to divide. So I divide by 3 and I get x equals negative 4. All right. right, on the next page you will see some that you need to try on your own, and then you can bring those to class and we will discuss them if you have questions.